What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we had a brand new video about Disney stock this time because I think Disney's going to be a massively great stock. Maybe not in 2022. Maybe it has an average year in 2022, but I think in the longer term, Disney is going to absolutely shatter some of these expectations and just become one of those best performing companies that is still considered like a blue chip stock right now. But before we jump into all of that, if you are not subscribed, make sure to smash that sub button because we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get into Disney Plus subscribers because that is where a bunch of their money and revenue is going to come from, and their growth is going to come from. So we can see in these numbers right here. This is the number of Disney Plus subscribers worldwide, and you can see the most recent one, Q4 2021. 118 million subscribers, just explosive growth for Disney. And the biggest company you can compare Disney to is obviously Netflix. And when you compare Disney and their park side, their park revenue, plus their Disney Plus revenue, plus they have Hulu and ESPN, and they have their movies and content they create is amazing. Like, there's a huge audience for that demands Disney content. If you take that into account, they are a behemoth to battle Netflix and the only person in the streaming game who can actually battle Netflix. And it shows when you compare this right here. So this is a little bit of an older chart here because the numbers are updated. It's 118 million, and then Netflix is around 211 million. So, but you can see massive growth for this Disney Plus line, and this is over term growth. Still amazing for Netflix, amazing growth, great stuff, but Disney Plus is exploding. And if you add on Disney Plus growth, plus they have Hulu, ESPN, all their other streaming services, you add those on, they start to get within 40 million subscribers of Netflix. So it's a massive market that is being not priced in or undervalued by people because there's so much fear about the parks shutting down and staying shut down. And that's how Disney makes their money. And people are so obsessed with that I think this year could prove, if we see things actually start to open up. We've been saying this for so long, but if we start to see that happen and start to see parks go 100%, parks are running, there's no more worries there, then I think attention switches to Disney Plus saying, this is a behemoth. This is something that's going to be big. It already is massive. The growth is crazy. So looking at this, like, there's no way that any of this Disney Plus stuff is priced into Disney stock. There's just so much fear over it. And that's what this talks about right here. Disney surpassing Netflix in 2022. That would be massive. If that happens, I think regardless of like the situation of their parks, this will bring a lot of eyes to Disney Plus, and seeing if they surpass Netflix, saying this is something big. So that's going to be a big thing to see. Right now, all of the key points are all things obviously pretty important stuff, but Netflix has 40 million more subscribers than all three of Disney services combined. So still a massive gap, but it's not that big as it used to be. Disney Plus shortened that gap like no tomorrow. Disney's not reached its desired pace of content production, so they're not even where they want to be. And this Disney Plus stuff, there's some numbers in here that we're going to go over, can be so much money for Disney. And this last point, Netflix stock has been rewarded for its robust streaming subscriber growth, and Disney shareholders could reap the same benefits. So this just kind of goes back to my point before. This has not been priced in. No one is taking into account the Disney Plus effect and growth, subscribers, the money it brings in. No one's taking that into effect because there's so much fear over other stuff that this hasn't been seen yet. And when it starts to get seen, it's going to be massive growth in Disney's stock. And this just kind of gives us the Disney Plus total subs between everything. And you can see comparing Disney Plus and Netflix subscribers head to head leaves a considerable advantage for Netflix. But if you include Disney's other streaming services, Hulu and ESPN Plus, it brings Disney's total to 174 million subscribers. And then that's where you get the 40 million sub difference between Disney and Netflix. But like it says, Disney catching up fast. The growth of Disney, absolutely massive. You see this line here. Like, if this growth continues, then they will pass Netflix in a short amount of time, maybe even in 2022. I think even this line, if it kept going, it might take into 2023 to actually pass it. But this growth is crazy. So if you include all of their other streaming services, then you get, them passing Netflix pretty easy, maybe in 2022. But if you only look at Disney Plus, which is going to be the selling point, it's going to take a little longer for Disney Plus by itself to try and pass Netflix. And then this is where the money comes in for Disney Plus. It is crazy stuff. You see right here, Disney's Plus service brings Disney $486 million per month in revenue. And compared to 2019, before everything got disrupted with the movie theater industry, Disney had 7 titles that generate over $1 billion in box office revenue. So this is giant because if it took them 7 movie titles to generate $1 billion, that would take them a little more than 2 months with Disney Plus to generate $1 billion. So this also changes the game with how they can go about spreading their content. So when you see them going with movie theaters, when they launch in a movie theater, that theater gets a share of the revenue or an upfront fee, something to let them put their movie there, obviously. And now they can do it through Disney Plus. They can just launch it through Disney Plus, and they can even do an upcharge on it and charge $3 or $5 for it. I think they did that with one movie last year. I'm not sure the name, but I'm pretty sure they did. And it was like a massive success. So there's also a lot of people who would rather stay at home than go to a movie theater to watch a movie or something. So that would be good for them and give them that option. And then you get to keep all the money. You don't share that with movie theaters, with AMC, with anything. You get to keep everything. So the amount of money and cash cow that this Disney Plus service can be is so underrated. And it's just going to be massive for Disney. And it by itself is the reason that Disney could be a $1 trillion company by 2030. I think it might happen before 2030 with all the growth and they've had. Obviously, they can't really keep up this growth. It's like launching growth and all this. But I think they're still going to have good growth. And obviously, the revenue is going to be crazy for them. So, $1 trillion by 2030. Just to do some quick math for that, we have Disney stock right here. Let's go and do some easy, real quick math. That's going to be $1 trillion, and you can do their market cap 200. Let's call it 283 billion. So if we do 283 billion, we would get 3.53 as a multiple. So do 3.53 and do it from what the current share price is. So $550 about is what Disney would be worth at $1 trillion per their share. That's really rough estimates of just multiplying the market cap to get there, using that to multiply the share price right now. So that would be without new shares coming out or anything like that. But $550, massive things for Disney. I think it's completely possible. And this shows us here in this article kind of a little interview or talk between people asking Disney being a $1 trillion company and him saying, I do. And what would fuel Disney's expansion to the $1 trillion market cap will be the growth of the streaming side of the business. 100% agree. The streaming Disney Plus, I can't say it enough. It is already massive and going to get bigger and bring in so much money. So from Disney, the CEO talks about expecting to reach 300 million subscribers by 2024. So we got 2 years. Even I think if that's only Disney Plus, so that's for everything. So 300 million for everything. Would that pass Netflix? It would probably not. Although I think Netflix slows down a little bit more. They've been around longer. Obviously, more people know about Netflix and might even already have it. But this 300 million for 2024, big. 200 million coming from Disney Plus itself, ridiculous. And then if they stay on that path, expanding the streaming business, they could realistically reach $1 trillion market cap by 2030. I tend to agree with all of that, but I think they could do it probably faster than 2030. So the growth has been insane. I think that in a couple years, Disney Plus will start to get a lot of attention. If it doesn't get a lot this year, because of all the fears and stuff. But if the fears go away and we start to get a lot more attention on Disney Plus, I think a lot of investors and people will look at this and say, this is a crazy thing going on. We got to get in on this now. And then, we'll see acceleration of like price and stuff there. But talking about just comparing to Netflix. So Netflix is around 9.6 times sales, and Disney is about 4 times sales. So Netflix certainly does have twice the price to sales ratio that Disney has. I see a lot of room for Disney to grow. So obviously, there's a lot more multiple given to like software companies and these streaming companies. And with Disney getting that into it, they open themselves up to being able to do more multiples. So doubling would be probably would double their multiple. So they let's just say they double their multiple and double in price. That doesn't give them the $1 trillion price. That gives them what 283 billion, just round up to 300, like less than $600 billion market cap, but it still doubles them, and it probably does it within a relatively quick period of time because it's just going to be multiples based off of what Netflix is getting instead of based off like fundamentals and stuff. So that's where you get a lot of people piling in pretty quickly, and then that's already 600 billion. That could happen in maybe a couple years, so before 2025, and then we'll see continued growth of Disney Plus, more attention to Disney Plus, and then parks reopening. Just Disney Plus makes, they said, the like 483 billion or $1 million a month, almost $500 million per month from Disney Plus, plus the park revenue, plus the movie revenue that they could launch directly on Disney Plus. There's so many avenues of revenue for Disney that the amount of money they're going to make is going to be sickening. Disney's going to be this massive, giant behemoth of a company in a few years. I think it reaches $1 trillion before 2030, but it's going to be later in that, maybe towards 2027, 2028, but before 2030, probably, if the attention comes to Disney Plus. But Disney, big, big company, stock pick that I think they're going to do great things. It might not happen this year, but it's definitely coming in the next couple years at the minimum. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. As always, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.